Stay tuned. Coming up is our celebration of our 400th episode.
Hey Rich, congratulations on your 400th episode of SAMatters radio podcast. What a great contribution you've made and what a great gift you've given to all of us that have had the opportunity to learn from you and all of the work that you have done to really define what situational awareness is, to identify what the barriers are that interferes with our situational awareness, and more importantly, how we can overcome those barriers to improve our level of situational awareness. I think back to the very first time that I attended one of your training classes. I didn't know what a podcast was, and I don't think that anybody else in the room knew what a podcast was at that point in time. At least the word podcast wasn't part of our daily vocabulary like it is today. Whenever I attended one of your training sessions, I felt I left with a mix of emotions. I always left feeling smarter, and I was excited about that. I always left feeling a little bit overwhelmed and full of ideas of things that I needed to take back and figure out how we could work those into everything that our organization did. And I also felt just a little bit scared because I always felt that I hadn't learned everything that I could have learned about situational awareness. I don't know how many times I've attended one of your training classes. I'm not sure if I hold the record for the number of times one student has attended your training. If not the record, I think I place up on the podium somewhere. But I think what that says is that there's always more to learn about situational awareness. I appreciated every opportunity I had to bring you into one of our Recruit Academy classes. I think that it was important for our new firefighters to have a strong awareness level of training about what situational awareness truly was. I appreciated the opportunity that I had to bring you into our organization every time to talk to our leaders about situational awareness and help them grow their knowledge level about situational awareness and improve their practices around situational awareness. And every time that we had you into the organization to speak to the organization as a whole and teach us more about situational awareness. While I have retired 3 years ago, I still read your books, I still watch your DVDs, I still talk to people about situational awareness because it applies to everything that we do. I know that what I learned from attending your training about situational awareness not only made me a better leader at the operations level, which is where I think most people tend to think about situational awareness applying, but it truly made me a leader in our organization and a more effective leader in our organization, because once you really start to wrap your head around what situational awareness is, it's easy to recognize that it applies to everything that we do in our lives. Not just from an operational standpoint, but from a business standpoint, from a human resources standpoint, just what we do in our day-to-day duties, tasks, and responsibilities outside of operations. So thank you for the knowledge that you shared. Thank you for the information that you created. Thank you for your willingness to always be there to answer questions and to be there to teach others about situational awareness. You've made a huge contribution to all of us, and I look forward to the next opportunity to attend another training session. I wish you the very best. I hope that we're here to do something to celebrate your 500th episode of SAMatters Radio and Podcast. Stay well, my friend. Good luck. Keep spreading the word.
Hello and welcome to the Situational Awareness Matters Show, episode 400. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence, time-compressed environments with changing conditions. The SAMatters mission is simple. We want to help you see the bad things coming in time to prevent bad outcomes.
Rich Gasaway served as a first responder for 33 years. Now he's an online university professor, researcher, podcaster, blogger, author, and professional speaker. Rich is widely considered to be a trusted authority to help work teams improve situational awareness and high-risk decision-making outcomes. He has delivered over 2,500 live presentations worldwide and has helped more than 90,000 workers improve safety. Rich has authored 6 safety books, and his teachings have been featured and referenced in numerous books, research projects, journal articles, and podcast episodes. He has been presenting dynamic in-person training programs since 1992. And he has hosted virtual training courses since 2014. Some of Rich's most popular programs for first responders include how smart first responders use situational awareness to improve safety, firefighter safety, mistakes and best practices, and the Leader's Toolbox, best practices for officer success. His virtual learning platform makes it convenient to train your entire team at work, at home, or wherever they may be.
This is going to be a nostalgic show for me. I was recently interviewed on another podcast, and I was asked if I ever thought the SAMatters mission would ever become what it is today. And my answer was quick. It was no way. If someone would have told me when I started this journey that along the way I would write 7 books on the topic of situational awareness, I would present on the topic to some of the most respected first response agencies in the world, including the New York City Fire Department Incident Management Team and the Fire Officers Associations of Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County Fire Departments, and every branch of the U.S. military, including presentations at the United States Military Academy and the United States Air Force Academy, I'd have said they were crazy. If they said I would present at the British Fire College and I would receive the award for giving the best presentation at that event, I'd say they were crazy. And if they said my programs are going to be hosted in Amsterdam and Arnhem and Antwerp and Hong Kong, and I'll do 17 programs in Australia and 5 programs in New Zealand, I'd have said that they were crazy. And that I would do programs for some of the world's largest companies in the oil and gas sector and pharmaceuticals and mining and transportation, nuclear energy and logistics and manufacturing and paper production and wood product production, I'd have said, you're crazy. And yet here we are. In total, my programs have been presented to more than 100,000 attendees worldwide. And I've sold almost 300,000 copies of my books and videos. The Situational Awareness Matters Online Academy has enrolled over 20,000 students. And now we have a cadre of master instructors teaching our content worldwide. If I were told that, I'd say you were crazy.
Real expectations, because SA matters.
Know your limit. Know your partner's limit, because SA matters.
Assumptions are bad. SA matters.
Proper PPE is important, because SA matters.
Flawed situational awareness is a really big deal. SA matters.
Know your water supply, because SA matters.
Bears and Cougars, SA matters.
Go versus no-go, because SA matters.
Confidence is good. Overconfidence is bad. SA matters.
Buddies matter, because SA matters.
SA matters. So don't get angry.
When the pigs are eating lemons, SA matters.
I've flown just over 2 million miles, stayed at just over 2,000 hotel rooms, and before the pandemic, I was delivering in the range of 90 to 120 programs annually. That demand is coming back now after the pandemic, and I'm doing about 50 to 70 with my master instructors collectively doing another 50 or so programs. If I had been told that my research would have been cited and referenced in more than 400 journal articles, doctoral dissertations, and books, I'd have said, you're crazy. If someone would have told me that all this were going to happen in my life since 2004, I'd have said they were crazy. In fact, I would have said all of this was crazy. And yet here I stand before the microphone on the 400th episode of this podcast. And it isn't crazy. It's the reality, which is crazy.
We recognized a gap in our accident prevention program. There was just something missing with our managers and our employees' inability to perceive, understand, and predict outcomes. Gasaway Consulting being here really provided, the insight and a real tangible skill and takeaway that they could use not only in an occupational setting, but in their daily lives. And just to see, all of our folks, laugh and learn and have a great time, was just really, insightful, and it was great to be a part of.
The SAMatters show was launched on May 12, 2014, with a two-pronged mission: to share lessons about situational awareness and to provide a platform for first responders who've had near-miss events to share their lessons learned with a broader audience. And since the launch of the SAMatters program has evolved over the years, my presentation and topic was first presented at the Fire Department Instructors Conference in 2007. I called that program back then Decision Making Under Stress. And the program was written to share lessons about how our brains function and changes under stress, and how those changes can impact decision making. Now let me pause and share a little story about that presentation. It was my first time presenting at FDIC, and I wasn't sure if anyone would even show up. And it was about 10 minutes before my program was supposed to start. And sure enough, this room, which was about, 40 or 50 chairs wide and about 300 chairs deep, was empty. The room was empty. And I had my back turned to the room, and I was doing some things on my computer, getting set up, and I heard the door open in the back, and I thought, all right, they're coming in. And in came one person, and they sat down in the very back of the room, way in the back. Could hardly see him. And I went, oh, that's just so typical. Come in and sit in not a single chair. There's nobody there. One person, the back of the room. And just to have some fun with them, I said, can you hear me back there? And in typical firefighter fashion, and as quick as they are with their humor, they said, yeah, I hear you fine. And they laughed, I laughed, but they didn't move. They stayed in the back row. And I went, no one's going to come. I'm going to get skunked here. And that really made me nervous. And I turned around and started, continuing setting up. And then I heard the doors open again. And then people started coming in. And the reason they weren't coming in before is the main room program was going on. So I wasn't thinking about that. But they were all in the main session. So when the main session was over, then they all went to the breakout sessions, which is what my program was. And the room filled up. And when I say the room filled up, I meant the moderators of the room had to tell people, if you got an empty chair next to you, raise your hand so we can get all these people that are standing along the wall a place to sit. And then all those chairs were filled up, and there were still people standing along the walls. And now I was nervous again, because I thought, oh my God, I hope I don't disappoint these people. I hope everybody doesn't say, well, we know this stuff already, and I'm wasting their time, and they're going to walk out on me or throw stuff at me. And it was a gamut of emotions that ran. But once I started presenting, I realized I could see in their faces that they didn't know this already, and that I was sharing with something that was new for them. All of this about situational awareness and brain function and how it changes under stress and how it affects our awareness and our decision making. And I could see the concerns in their faces and in their eyes, and I knew I was onto something. And when the program was done, I thanked everybody, and I was, getting ready to break down to make room for the next speaker, and people started lining up to talk with me. And I didn't count them, but I bet there were 30 people in the aisle waiting to have some conversation with me about the program. And so I talked to a few of them, that I realized I had to vacate the room. The next speaker wants to get set up and get going. So I told everybody that was waiting to see me, I said, just wait out in the hallway. I'm going to close up my computer and I'll come out and we'll talk out there. And I went, and they waited, and I went out in the hallway, and a group gathered around, and we probably talked for another hour about this topic and their ideas and their concerns and their questions. And oh my goodness, I knew I was on to something. And that was what really started it. And from there, I honed the program from decision making under stress to a program that I then developed called mental management of emergencies. And then that became the program on flawed situational awareness. Now, since then, that program has morphed many, many times. We're talking 2007 onward. So what, 16 years? A lot has changed. A lot has been updated. A lot have been added. And even some things removed. And the program continues to morph and evolve.
So why is situational awareness so important for individuals and teams? The answer to that is simple. It's because situational awareness is the foundation for good decision making. Now, it's completely logical that the better you understand a situation, the better your decision making will be, right? But there's a weird thing about situational awareness, and that is you can have terrible situational awareness, horrible situational awareness, zero situational awareness, and still make a great decision. We call that lucky. And out in the world, there are a lot of people lucking their way into successful outcomes. In fact, some have been so lucky for so long that they have confused their luck with a skill set. Well, let's see if we can figure out a way to program out some of the luck and replace it with a genuine skill set that can actually improve high-risk decision-making. And that skill set is situational awareness. So let's begin with a definition of what situational awareness is. Situational awareness is your ability to perceive and to understand what's happening in the world around you, while being mindful about how time passes, because as time passes, conditions change. And as conditions change, then so does awareness. And then, and the next part is truly the goal of situational awareness, and that is having the ability to predict the future in time to prevent bad outcomes.
That was the start of a movement that was completely focused on helping first responders improve their situational awareness and decision making. And then in 2012, something entirely unexpected happened. I got a call at my office from a company that said, we want to have you come down and train our employees on situational awareness. And I said, well, what does your company do? And they said, well, we take weapons grade uranium and we downblend it to a level of uranium that can power nuclear submarines. And I said, you've got the wrong person. I don't do that kind of training. I train first responders on situational awareness. And they said, no, we've been to your website. We've seen what you write about, and we presume that's what you teach about, and that's exactly what we need. So I was still a little skeptical. So I said, why don't you just have me come down and tour your facility and see what you do, and then we'll determine whether what I teach can help your organization. So I went down and I toured their facility, and it took a whole day to go through it all. It's a big place. And immediately I knew from what I saw that what I taught could help them. And so we arranged for me to do some training for them. Now I've since done 4 additional trainings for them, so that's been very rewarding as well. I asked them how they found me. They said they found me with a Google search. So hey, thanks Google.
Dr. Rich, Vicki Quint here. Just wanted to give you a shout out for our 400 episodes of your podcast on SAMatters. We're very grateful. The Foam Exposure Committee was on there recently, and keep going. Thank you.
Oh, hey, it's the 4th anniversary of Rich Gasaway's podcast on situational awareness. Fantastic. Congratulations, Rich. But congratulations to everybody who listens to it. They're being better firefighters and becoming safer firefighters by being aware of what's going on around them. Rich, you've done a great service for the fire service. You're helping people stay alive, and congratulations to everybody who's watching us.
Hey, I'm Adam Farrar from Evansville, Indiana. I want to congratulate Rich Gasaway on his 4-year anniversary of the Situational Awareness Matters podcast. If you get a chance, swing by and listen to episode 33. I was interviewed for a near miss that I had at a department for a house fire. We really support Rich's mission, and we hope he continues down this path.
Hey Rich, gefeliciteerd met het 4-jarig bestaan van je podcast. De message is ontzettend belangrijk geweest, ook voor ons programma Stop en Denk Na in Amsterdam, waar je in oktober geweest bent. De collega's hebben het er nog steeds over, maar nog veel belangrijker, we zien een aantal van de dingen die je ons geleerd hebt, ook terug in andere programma's die we doen over tactisch brandbestrijden, over kijken, zien en begrijpen wat je doet. Het is een ontzettend belangrijk onderdeel van ons hele programma Stop en Denk Na. Dus gefeliciteerd en keep up the good work.
In 2015, I created the Situational Awareness Matters Online Academy. It's an internet-based learning program to help organizations, mostly first responders, that couldn't otherwise afford to host a live program. So now they could do it virtually. The Academy's, if you don't know about it, it's 14 modules. It's different than the live events in a couple of ways. First, the Academy takes 22 hours to get through. So it's not just a equivalent of a one-day class. There are exams at the end of each module and a final exam. Because the students have to pass the exam, they're certified in situational awareness versus having a certificate of attendance after completing a live event. See, at a live event, there's no test for competency like we do in the Academy. So because we test for competency, we can certify the attendees. And some organizations like to have their people certified, and it's important for them, and for some it isn't. So it isn't for everyone, but for those organizations most serious about ensuring their members have a competency on situational awareness and high-risk decision-making, the Academy was a real gem to develop.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to listen to Rich at several national conferences, and I've always been intrigued by his message. It's hard to argue with science, even though some still do. I retired as a volunteer fire chief at the end of 2021, no longer fight fire or have the worries of being an incident commander. I still try to keep current on the latest trends in technology in my capacity as a director of training and education for Provident. In fact, earlier this year, I enrolled in and completed 14 modules of the online SAM program. I must tell you, looking back at my fire service career as a volunteer fire chief and as a career fire officer, I realized there were times when I was lucky as an incident commander and none of my people were hurt or killed. So what I'm saying, if you're a department or company officer who has the responsibility to ensure the safety of the troops, and you're depending on luck or the old ways of thinking, it's time to learn the art and science of situational awareness, simply because it does matter. Furthermore, if you're a young firefighter who aspires to be an officer someday, now's the time to begin learning what SAM is all about. Don't wait until you've been promoted.
In addition to the Academy, our learning management system online has 32 other programs that are safety-related topics, including the modules of the Academy. If somebody doesn't want to take them all, they can just take a module. In 2018, we started delivering live virtual programs, which turned out to be a pretty handy skill set to have when the pandemic hit, because we were already ahead of the curve, as we'd been doing the live virtual training for like 2 years. And thankfully, because that virtual training sustained us through the pandemic period.
This is Dave Dotson, creator of the Art of Reading Smoke program and co-author of the newly released Art of Reading Buildings book. And you're listening to the SAMatters radio show with Rich Gasaway. The SAMatters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
In 2022, we trained a cadre of master instructors so that our message could grow, and maybe I could slow down a little bit. If you've been following along with me on social media, you know in this spring I took a 6-month sabbatical away from teaching live events on the road. And I did that to kind of rest a little bit and recharge. You know, Stephen Covey said, you got to sharpen the saw, so to speak. And that allowed me to realize how much I really enjoy delivering this topic, and it provided some opportunities for the master instructors to step up as well. And now we're looking to grow our cadre of master instructors to another level and bring some more master instructors on and grow our reach there. We're in Europe and Asia and the Middle East with our European-based operation. And we're in the U.S. and Canada. We haven't done anything in South America yet, but maybe there's hope there. And we've been all across Australia 3 times in New Zealand. Here's a countdown of the 15 most popular episodes. Coming in at number 15, Chesterfield County Fatality Response, episodes 198, 199, and 200. Coming in at 14, 12 Steps to Improve Situational Awareness, episode 383. Coming in at number 13, Siren Side, the Impact of Acute Stress and Emergency Vehicle Collisions, episode 388. Coming in at 12, Trooper Down on the Roadway, the Bob Bemis Story, episode 387. Coming in at number 11, Approving Responder Safety on the Roadway, the John Gonzalez Interview, episode 380. Coming in at number 10, EMDR, or Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing Treatment for First Responders, an interview with Dr. Deborah Korn, coming in at 393. Number 9, Thornton Fire, Lessons from a Mayday, episodes 256, 257, and 258. Coming in at number 8, Impact of Stress on Memory and Recall, episodes 294 and 295. Coming in at number 7, First In, Engine Under Fire, the Chris Packett Story, episodes 384 and 385. Coming in at number 6, Preventing the Mass Shooter Event, the Darren Wall Story, episode 379. Coming in at number 5, The Athletic Club Hotel, Double Line of Duty Death, Doug Abernathy Interview, episodes 221 and 222. Coming in at number 4, Caught in a Flashover, the Eric Dryman Story, episodes 103 and 104. Coming in at number 3, Trapped in the Basement, the Perry Hall Story, episode 336 and 337. Coming in at number 2, The Violence Project, How to Stop Mass Shooting Epidemics, with Dr. James Densley, episode 389. And coming in at number 1, Complacency, the Eric Wappel Story, episode 390. Here's a countdown of my 10 most favorite interviews. Coming in at number 10, Trapped in a Tunnel, Running Out of Air, the Joe Pronesti Story, episodes 253 and 254. Coming in at number 9, Situational Awareness, Questions and Answers, episode 362. Coming in at number 8, Caught in a Flashover, the John Lightly Story, episodes 219 and 220. Coming in at number 7, Situational Awareness Insanity, episodes 165, 166, 167, 168, and 169. Coming in at number 6, The Myth of Multitasking, episode number 90. Coming in at number 5, 3 Types of Stress, episode 121. Coming in at number 4, understaffing can impact situational awareness, episode 328. Coming in at number 3, the Dirty Dozen situational awareness barriers, episode 234. Coming in at number 2, no cost hosting, episode 262. And coming in at number 1, teaching responders how to speak up, the Cameron Gasaway story, episode number 140. I'm just so appreciative of all the opportunities that have been given to me over the years. I keep track of every program I do. I keep track of how many attendees every program has. I take tons and tons and tons and tons of pictures when I go and do programs of fire stations and fire apparatus and good ideas that I'm getting from people when I attend the programs. I'll bet I've got 20,000 pictures. And for those who follow me on social media, you might know I got a few thousand carpet pictures too. Carpet pictures, you might wonder. If you follow me, you know, you're probably chuckling right now. But some years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I was sitting in the lobby of a hotel waiting to be picked up by an Uber, and I was on my phone and looking down, and I glanced away from my phone and looked down at the carpet at this particular hotel, and I said to myself, that's the ugliest carpet I've ever seen in my life. And I took a picture of that ugly carpet and I posted it on my social media, and I said, this is the ugliest carpet I've ever seen. And it blew up with comments. People commenting on the ugly carpets. And then I thought, well, what the heck? You know, I'm out and about, might as well shoot some ugly carpet pictures. So when I go places, I shoot carpet pictures, airports, hotels, conference centers. So if you ever wondered where did the birthing of the carpet picture hobby come from, that's how it started. I've had people say, you should publish a book of just carpet pictures. And it's like, that's not my lane. You know, carpet pictures is not where it's at for me. It's just a kind of a thing that started as something funny, and then it just turned into what it is now. But if you scroll my feeds, you'll see some of the ugliest carpets in the world, and I mean the world, because I've taken them from all over the world that you will have ever seen. And I don't know who designs these carpets. I hope they don't pay a lot of money to have these carpets designed the way they do. And the funny thing about it is now people send me carpet pictures. I had somebody recently that they were on a cruise in the Caribbean. And while they're on a cruise in the Caribbean, you know, probably enjoying a nice cold beverage on a beach, they sent me a carpet picture from their cruise ship. Imagine this. Somebody's on a cruise ship in the Caribbean and they're thinking of me because they saw an ugly carpet. I can't make this stuff up. I'd like to share the following testimonial that I received. Have you ever wondered why you reacted the way you did during a moment of crisis? Why you made a decision that after reflecting you realized that you got away with one and the outcome could have been much worse? I was a training manager for a well-known oil sands company for 9 years and 38 years in a career in oil processing. A couple of years ago, we realized the experience level of the majority of our process personnel were dropping due to rash retirements, and the newer replacement employees did not have training nor the benefit of having been there and done that to help them make the correct decisions in emergency situations, something that we call periods of high vulnerability. We decided our employees would benefit from training in human factors and situational awareness to help them improve decision-making under stress. We decided to augment situational awareness training with a review of our company's management systems, as well as a review of lessons learned from our company's incidents, as well as other major industry incidents. To help us with the situational awareness training, we enlisted the help of Dr. Rich Gasaway. Dr. Gasaway is an ex-firefighter who went back to school and got a doctorate in what he says is BS. No, not that BS. This is brain science. This is all about how the brain works and how it reacts differently during different stages in periods of high vulnerability, how to recognize the changes and mitigate the impacts. Dr. Gasaway is an amazing presenter with an ability to captivate his audience, especially with this topic that is not well understood. He has the ability to simplify to any level of his audience. We put 600 process operators and leaders through the training course, and with a resounding excellent review from almost every one of them. We also had Dr. Gasaway on our site for a week prior to the training. He had the opportunity to talk to a lot of our employees and get an idea of the company culture to give him some direction for his presentation. He also gave us a list of suggestions to improve our performances during periods of high vulnerability as a result of those employee interactions. We were so impressed with his training that we filmed his presentation so that we could use it to train future employees. I would recommend Dr. Gasaway to any organization where employees deal with emergency situations. I wish I had this type of training 38 years ago in the early stages of my career. And with permission, I share that came from Dawson Windsor, a retired production manager at Syncrude Oil Refinery.
Our academy class is going home today because we know that SA matters. SA matters!
Hey, if you're interested in hosting a program, live or virtual, just go over to the SAMatters.com website and click the Contact Us tab. And I'll give you a call. We can chat through all the details of how best to make that happen. I even have ideas about how to host a program for free. And I've helped a lot of organizations host free programs. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. Give a check to the show notes on how to subscribe to our newsletter, how to follow us on social media. We're there sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, how to improve the skills of critical thinking and resilient problem solving.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters Show with Dr. Richard Gasaway. If you're interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit his website, SAMatters.com. If you're interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for a program, or if you would like to be a guest on his show, click the Contact Us tab at the top of the homepage.
That's it. Episode 400 of the Situational Awareness Matters Show is complete. And I will close this episode as I have done 399 previous times. Thank you, our listeners and viewers, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.